Again, Janet, the Kuyper.
Kuypers, I'm like, do you know astronomy, Kuyper? And they're like, no, I'm like, the Kuyper schnapps, maybe? Because that's like, so people are like, oh yeah, I used to drink that. I'm like, yeah, well, no. I don't know how related I am to it because I don't get any of the royalties, but here are 3 poems, and they're on crazy different things. This one is called, oh, I should be posing for him. This one's called, this is called Qualms with a Headache. I typed copy into my computer, and an online grammar program said that there was a problem when I typed the word headache. It just placed a red line under the word headache, like the word was something I checked it needed a fix. The word had no spelling errors. I right-clicked the word headache so it would show me the solution to whatever problem it found. It gave no explanations, no options of how I'm supposed to solve the problem with this elusive headache. So I wondered, does this program have artificial intelligence? Is it trying to communicate with me and feel my pain? If so, then why won't it tell me how to get rid of it? Because this is the point. At this point, this error message is giving me a headache. And all I did is type in a single word into my computer. Headache. How do I make the pain go away? That was my humorous one. This one, not so much. I think I wrote this one because it was written on 311, which K is the 11th letter in the alphabet. And so when you see the day 311, they think KKK. And so I think that was where I came up with coming up with the poem idea. Because K is the 11th letter in the alphabet and 311 is KKK. I've heard that before. That's whatever. This is probably where this came from, but that's all I've got.
KKK come from?
Because it was written on March 11th, 311. And that's my only guess. That's my only guess. But it's called Understanding Terrorism's Interior. Too many times these days do we see terrorism and not understand it. Recently we see Al-Qaeda attacks and that we don't understand them, and we assume the Islamists are envious of our wealth because we only pay attention to what is right in front of us and don't realize that our own government is more than happy to fight communism by giving the Mujahideen Islamic forces money and weapons to fight the Russians. But once they were free, us Americans thought we could westernize the Middle East, which was the last thing they wanted. Translation, they were fine with taking our money so they could fight, but otherwise they didn't want to be messed with. Anyway, high and mighty us, we gave them more money because, boy, did we want to meddle. Did that mean we deserve the terrorist attacks in 93 and 01 and the mini attacks since in between? Probably not, but when you're really trying to make a point, sometimes the most radical and absurd is sometimes, is some people's minds, it's the only way to go. Sometimes the prejudice some people face seems to be too overpowering to believe or even comprehend. It still boggles the mind to think that people exist who truly believe their race is all that matters.
Yeah.
Their race. Really. And if that's not enough, they can also hate some religions and use that ever so seductive violence to murder and get their point across. The scary thing is that this terrorism flourished in the United States in 3 different rounds from one group. The Ku Klux Klan gave white men this feeling that they were doing more than merely preserving the only thing they thought was good, while in actuality it was just isolating them from anything interesting or different in the world. When their solution to this, I'll say that again. When their solution to this isolationism went beyond changing laws to make sure certain people weren't welcome, this narrow vision reduced them to killing innocent people, to thinking that hanging them from a tree helped their message. It's scary to think that this can exist on our own shores. And maybe it comforts us to know that the latest third round of the Ku Klux Klan is only a sliver of the size that it once was here. But it's lurking to catch us once we feel safe. Terrorism scares us because we all believe that we are open and welcoming and willing. And we forget that we only choose to spend time with those that are like us and those who cushion our own narrow beliefs. We may not be terrorists, but in our own way, we choose that same isolationism that maybe lead to terror. We think we're above it all. We think we're better than that. And then we look in the mirror and wonder what we really see. This one was written on Victory Day. It gets tiring holding this in my right hand. I'll put a minute in. This one's called A Victory Day After Midnight. Oh, I have to use this hand. After years of this toxic relationship with you, and you making me believe that you were my savior, I wanted to think it could work out between us. But what seemed so good at first was only an illusion. I can't, I've lost my spot. I'm going to have to start that again. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to start that again. Technical difficulties, I'm sorry about that. But what at first seemed so good at first, it was only an illusion. I should have known to not trust you. We all should have known it. But as time wore on, those who would argue against you would somehow be silenced, quickly, coldly, violently, and brutally. You said you wanted peace, but you only offered death, destruction, and domination. You never said the words, at least not that I heard, but you sanctioned mass genocide as your final solution. Was this supposed to be how you would make things work out for us? You pulled the wool over my eyes, and I think you did this with everyone else. I had to be free of you, to feel an ounce of my own freedom. And there are more than others that saw your claims of wanting peace and prosperity as only the megalomaniacal rantings of a madman trying to blindside the world into submission. The more I realized that I didn't have to fight alone. And if that means we would all have to take you down the way you tried to take me down, or even try to take the world down, then so be it. Since you don't fight fair, we'll pull out of our tricks out of our sleeves to make sure your wrath remains nothing more than your idle imagination. And maybe only later will we realize how essential it was to put you down like the animals you assumed other beings to be. But for now that it's after midnight, let us celebrate that you cannot hurt us anymore, or us or anyone else anymore. And maybe, just maybe, the world may be a better place for it. So, now that I'm over how evil you once were, let me just celebrate. Thank you. From this on to the 8th, and that was why they did all the paperwork for signing the peace treaty, and it was like after 1:30 in the morning when they got it done. And that's why they call Victory Day on the 8th, and that was research for another poem. Well, thank you very much.
Wow.
I get to learn a lot.